Hey, photo class. I was just going to make my own portfolio cover here and thought I should do a screencast of it so that maybe it could be of use to some of you. Maybe you're stuck on some of the ideas and not sure how to proceed, or perhaps you've got an idea going, and by watching this, you might get some other methods or approaches to using Photoshop. Again, just to reiterate, you don't have to use Photoshop or Illustrator. If there's an app that works for you, or if you chose to do some actual handmade design for this, all those are viable options. I just want you all to feel like you can make a cover that feels honest and reflects something about you and allows you to explore some skills we've looked at this year, as well as perhaps look at some new ways of creating. All right, so I'm going to look at a couple things here. I'm going to look at just like you are. I'm perusing the work I've created over the course of the year. This has been a kind of an average, maybe slightly above average year for the amount of work I've made. I like to stay busy creating my own work. I think it's important, and I love doing it. So there's a lot of reasons for me to keep taking photographs, keep practicing illustration and graphic design and all those things. So as I'm flicking through here, I see some photos from the summer as well as the fall. And what I'm looking for is just is there an image that would maybe be a good image to base this portfolio cover off of? Because it doesn't have to be a mix of a bunch of things. It could be one that I really want to focus on, or it might be a few here. So if I look at this image, which was taken from, Cyprus, like the lookout looking kind of southeast towards Burnaby. I really like this image. I'm really happy with it. So that might be one that I choose. And then I also like this little illustration here that I did of a camera. And so I guess what I like about the possibility of these two is that one of them is more about illustration. Like if I click here, you can see this is an illustration. And what's nice about using like mechanical objects like cameras is they're not super challenging to draw, in that they don't have like a crazy amount of detail and shapes. They're made up of like geometric shapes with some organic elements, right? So I might decide that I want to use the camera illustration and then this photo here and start playing with combining those. And after that, I can start throwing in some typography, because we know in this portfolio cover, at the bare minimum, we want to have our name on it. Somehow we want to convey that this is the portfolio of, in my case, Jake Francis, in your case, your name and last name. All right, so why don't I throw in, I'm gonna drag this into Photoshop here. And we know that if we drag into Photoshop, should cooperate. There we go. Get slowly loading in. It's got a little white gap here on the bottom. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to grab the crop tool and I'm going to type in the dimensions. For this assignment, we want 11 by 14. Okay, so when I type that in, Photoshop creates a ratio that no matter where I drag it to, it will maintain that ratio. So I know that wherever I go, it's going to be 11 by 14. So maybe I'll crop kind of to here. I kind of like those mountain ranges on the left there, though. So maybe I'll go with that. Okay, I'm going to hit enter if that should work. If not, sometimes enter doesn't work. Just hit command enter and that should do it. Okay, next piece I'm going to do is bring in, where was it? Oh yeah, the camera there. So I'm going to bring that into Photoshop, drop it on top, hit enter. Okay, and now I don't need that tutorial window there. What do I want? I want layers. Okay, here we go. All right, Adobe, enough with the pop-ups. All right, so we've got, we can see our layers here, our familiar layers panel in Photoshop. And I've got my illustration on top. I've got the photograph on the bottom. What I want to do is actually use layer masking, which is where we hide and reveal certain things in the image. And to do that, it's this wonderful little button here that says add layer mask. Now, hang on, don't click it just yet, because I'm going to recommend that you actually create a black layer mask and not a white layer mask. So to do that, hold down Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac and click that. And what'll happen is the little black layer mask now covers that top image. It's not gone, it's masked. Okay, so masking is a concept we've looked at this year. To reiterate, why masking is so powerful is it allows you to reveal and conceal various parts of the image without destroying the actual image. This is non-destructive editing, which is always the goal. So for me to now reveal parts of that camera here, I'm going to grab the brush tool. Okay, grab the brush tool. I'm going to make sure that my brush is not set to like a hard brush. Actually, I want a really soft brush because then it will reveal a lot more subtly. So my hardness is set to 0. And now this is the key. We have to be thinking of like, well, if a black layer mask hides the whole image, then white, if I paint white on it, that should reveal it. And that is the case here. So make sure you've got a white foreground color. If it's not white, if it's actually set to black, just hit X on your keyboard and that will toggle it to white. Hit X again and it goes back to black. Okay, so we want a white foreground color. I've got my brush tool. I'm going to use my right square bracket key here to make my brush bigger. And now the last thing I'm going to do is make sure my opacity is not set to 100 because 100 is way too powerful. So let's slowly reveal this camera. So I'm going to try like 20-ish. Okay, now if I paint with white, I can see that my camera went too far there, right? I actually didn't want that much revealed. So that's okay because that forces me to now go back to a black colored brush. And now when I paint with black, it starts to conceal it again. I'm going to actually move that opacity up so this goes a little quicker. There we go, up to 30. Now it's disappearing nicely again, okay? So what I can do is just kind of subtly fade that camera in, which is kind of nice, right? So it's like it's there, but it's not like in your face. And now I might actually decide that, and this is very typical when you're collaging pieces together, that you don't like the position. You've decided, oh, I don't really want it in the dead center. Okay, so no problem. Click on this layer, grab your move tool at the top, and then now you can drag it, right? So if I wanted to kind of like just be like cresting over the city skyline there, which is kind of cool, I can do that. Now, what if I want the camera to be a little bigger? I can also make some changes size-wise, right? So Control T or Command T, holding Shift, and now I can stretch that a little bit bigger and have that camera having a little bit more visual power in the image, okay? So I'm going to stop there for now with the image combination, but I just wanted to sort of show you guys how you could use layer masking in a very powerful, very quick way to start combining multiple images simply by using these black layer mask and then revealing them with the white color here with the brush tool. It's just a really fun way to combine images, right? It's the basis of what makes, I think, Photoshop so fun and powerful to play with. So yeah, it's called compositing. So happy compositing, and hopefully that's helpful for some of you.